Hello, BookTube. I've got a little mail for you today on a bright, sunny, cold Tuesday. it's I'm still watching the potential for disturbances in the weather later in the week, Friday or the weekend won't affect their Thanksgiving in Boston. These things the potentials look weaker and weaker all the time to me. I don't think they're actually going to happen. I think we're going to have highs in the mid 50s Fahrenheit, clear weather, not a drop of moisture straight on through into December, which is okay. It's certainly better than ice. Ice and snow, not so much. We've got a little mail here, one periodical and a couple of packages so we can go through them. It doesn't have to be a marathon. The periodical is a little odd. I stopped subscribing to it and I'm still getting it. And I didn't stop subscribing to it really out of any kind of animus. I mean, it's Men's Health. And the only animus that I could have against it is that it often lies. By implication. Almost never explicitly. Every issue is, in fact, jammed full of information. Cooking information, exercise information, calisthenic information. There's, for instance, a 2-page spread in this issue about colorectal cancer. What it is, the warning signs, getting tested, getting screened when you're younger. The lie by implication is usually that they need to sell magazines, which is a reality of the industry. It's not necessarily their invention. And that leads them to go to celebrities. The last issue of Men's Health that we saw had Zac Efron on the cover, who, to put it very simply, does not lead a healthy life. He is a man who is not healthy. He does not lead a healthy life. Nothing that he does in his life is healthy. Nothing. Most of what he does in his life, most of the things that get him through a day, hour by hour, are intensely unhealthy. Now, that's not true of Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, not to anywhere near the same degree, but you open the thing right away, and Nick Jonas has a clothing line that he is pushing. And he's done photo shoots for it, and these and pictures like them from those photo shoots will be in every Men's Health magazine, every men's magazine in America. I guess it's only an ad, so it doesn't really matter. But Nick Jones is even more of a pronounced case than Zac Efron. Nick Jones, despite having diabetes, which is only made worse by all of the things that he does, he smokes 20 1-foot-long cigars every single day. Every day. 20 every day. If you do the math and figure that he still sleeps, that's a few an hour. And it takes a long time. It takes a lot. Every one of those does a gigantic sledgehammer's worth of damage to his mouth, to his tongue, to his soft palate, all the way down, to his lungs, to his heart, and to his diabetes. But he doesn't just do that. He also buys into the whole Frank Sinatra thing. So there's, whiskey or bourbon or fine liquor. That starts flowing at 3 p.m. and doesn't stop until late nights at Baby Brasa in Manhattan or whatever until 3 a.m. So that's 12 hours of really heavy, continuous smoking and 12 hours essentially of heavy drinking, both of which are incredibly heightened. Their damage is incredibly heightened if you have diabetes. So I guess Men's Health is not really endorsing this kid at this point, but he's just an ad in here. But you encounter that. I encounter that when I look at an issue like this at any time that I open an issue, which is kind of, I think, why I sort of let my subscription lapse. One of the things that I tend to like about Men's Health, it doesn't happen in this issue, is that they tend to do quick sort of state-of-the-field reviews of various things. It does actually happen in this issue, but in this issue, it's all for exercise equipment. And those really annoying gas-powered scooters where you stand up on it and you zip through traffic in the lanes that you're not supposed to use and come really close to hitting the pedestrians that you're supposed to stay clear of, and scare the heck out of dogs who have no idea what you're doing or why you're doing it. Or you use sidewalks where you are absolutely not supposed to be and don't excuse yourself or stop. If you hit a knot of people, you try and worm your way through it instead of stopping, shouldering your thing, and walking through it. It had guides on all sorts of that stuff. Every once in a while it won't. Every once in a while it will do like a page on new tech for the holidays, something like that. Maybe the next issue will, as it gears up towards Christmas. What I really want, and it reminds me every time I see a magazine like this, and every time I see a spread of those little reviews, is a glossy magazine, a glossy square-bound magazine that is only tech reviews or tech and tech-related reviews. I know that such a thing must exist out there, not for the techie and not for the gamer, but for the general reader. I know that such a magazine must exist. I haven't found it. I've put a sort of a balloon up to any of you if you know anything about such a magazine and haven't really got any responses. I know that it's out there. Unfortunately, the easiest way for me to find such a thing would be to browse at a big newsstand. And Boston lost its only big newsstand this summer, the one that was at the Barnes & Noble at the Prudential Center. So there isn't one, as far as I know, anywhere in the city now that anywhere closely approximates that size, and so would have a depth for those kinds of magazines, so I could pull out a subscription card and send them my money. But I will eventually find such a thing. But in the meantime, we have 2 packages, no boxes, and I'm hoping these are 2 different packages from 2 different publishers in 2 different sizes. So I'm hoping there's no duplication today. So what is this first one? It was the adhesive had come off the envelope, so it was sort of popped open when I saw it. Oh, okay. Oh, all right. I think I know what this is. I dropped the envelope too soon. I can't go and get it, but I think I know what this is. This is by Lee Roscoe, and it is Wampanoag art for the ages, traditional and transitional. So it's a big picture book of Wampanoag artwork, past and present. Very nicely done. Very nice. And I am assuming that this is from the Martha's Vineyard Gazette. I'm assuming that I am to review this book. It doesn't have a sheet on it, and I dropped the package. The package would tell me. Let's take a look. Lee Roscoe, a longtime Massachusetts journalist, environmental educator, activist, decades-long interest in the indigenous and Wampanoag culture and history. She's written frequently about Wampanoag. She organized a drive in favor of federal recognition of the Mashpee Wampanoag and helped save hundreds of acres of land in part sacred to the tribe. Okay, so this is a Cape book. That makes sense. So I'll have to double check, but I'm pretty sure that I'm supposed to review this. But it is, those of you who are interested, this is a 2022 release. So it's a new book, and it is very well done. Very, very nicely produced. Oversized in the way that you would want, right? You wouldn't want these to be just a normal inset of color photos in the middle of a text. You'd want it to be a bigger book. Great, fantastic. Okay, I bet I'll learn a lot from it. And then we have the other package. This cannot possibly be Wampanoag artwork. There's no way. I'll do check this time, make sure. No, okay, this is not. Oh, okay. All right, let's take a look here. This is I don't remember requesting this. This is for Valentine's Day. This comes out on Valentine's Day next year. This is by Patrick Bringley, and it is All the Beauty in the World, the Metropolitan Museum of Art, and me. Look at that. How wonderful. And he is looking at a Roman triumph. Do any of you recognize that painting? Any of you tell me the guest of honor right there? Let's see here. So I don't have a sheet for this. We'll just read it. We'll just read. Oh, actually, there's a pub sheet taped into the middle here. Let's see. In the late 2000s, 25-year-old Patrick Bringley left his post at the New Yorker, where he got to hobnob with the likes of Stephen King and Michael Chabon, to take a job as a guard at the Metropolitan Museum of Art. Not a bad choice. I'd be tempted to do that. He made this counterintuitive move in response to his grief at his beloved older brother's death from cancer. Bringley decided to retreat from the world of people into the realm where he could stare at gorgeous objects all day. How those objects and the rich culture of the museum that contains them brought Bringley back from his grief is this book's narrative engine. How wonderful. How wonderful. Drawing from his decade at the Met, he stayed there for 10 years, good Lord. Drawing from his decade at the Met, Bringley treats us to a wealth of intel about the beloved museum that no guidebook could offer. Here are just a few examples. How 2 high school students stole a pharaoh's ring with a coat hanger. Why the Met has almost 400 works by Picasso but can show only a few at a time. Why it owns the second largest collection of baseball cards in the world. Only Cooperstown has more. The Cooperstown Museum has more. I would have thought some individual would have more than either one, either the Met or Cooperstown, and many others. I'm kind of interested in all of those, but I especially want to know, I mean, how do we know? How do we know that some incredibly rich baseball fanatic doesn't have the largest collection? I guess such a fanatic would make that known, right? Uh, but don't think this book is inside baseball, inside baseball for some niche market. The Met is the most popular attraction in New York and by far the most visited museum in the Western Hemisphere with over 7 million admissions a year. Oh, I mean, I'm as big a fan of the Met as anybody, but are you telling me that it's the biggest attraction in New York City? That can't be true. That just can't be true. Even the Natural History Museum would surely be more, and that's not even talking about the Statue of Liberty. That can't possibly. Is that true? That can't possibly be true. Well, anyway, uh, 7 million admissions a year, though. I didn't know that. That's more viewers than I get in a year. And we expect this book to draw readers in all seasons and all places, both because the Met is such a legendary icon and because Bringley's outsized skills as observer and memoirist. This sounds fantastic. This sounds absolutely fantastic. This is the author's first book. He lives with his wife and children in, say it with me now, Brooklyn. And this is his first book. How wonderful. I wonder if he dedicates it to his brother. The dedication might not be in place yet for an example. Yes. Oh, yes. You eggheads will read that right away. Oh, okay. All right. This is a 2023 release. This is a September release. All the Beauty in the World. Grieving for his brother. He takes a job as a guard at the Met so that he can stare at these timeless works all that time. Fantastic. Fantastic. But it doesn't sound maudlin. That could be the makings of a maudlin memoir. But this doesn't sound like he's going to take that route at all. It sounds like he quickly started just observing and noticing trivia, that's going to be really interesting. Oh, fantastic. All right, so those are our books. We have Wampanoag Art for the Ages, and we have All the Beauty in the World. So plenty of artwork here, really an art-themed mail haul. And Men's Health with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson on the cover. There he is with a Black Adam t-shirt. I haven't heard much of reaction from many of you about the movie Black Adam. I found it fascinating. I had lots and lots of things to think about. Naturally, it was partly a dream come true for me to see some of the Justice Society characters brought so successfully to the screen. In this case, Dr. Fate and Hawkman. I had all sorts of. I understand a lot of the decisions that the producers of Black Adam had to make in order to shape the narrative. It was in many ways a lot of the same decisions that the producers at the Marvel Cinematic Universe had to make once they introduced Doctor Strange. What do you do when that happens? What do you do, for instance, even earlier than that, if you introduce a character like Loki? You sort of have to downpower them and narrowly subscribe what they can and cannot do. You pretty much have to do that. With Dr. Fate, you would certainly have to do that. They do. But anyway, that's the mail for today. A nice quick mail haul, in and out. Nobody gets hurt. So I'll wrap this up for now, but I'll be back. Thank you, BookTube.